Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Jurassic World Dominion review. Today we're taking a look at the new Extreme Damage Genyodectes Serus. I've been on the hunt for this figure for a really long time, ever since they started popping up at Walmart's. That's right, if you're in the US, Extreme Damage is exclusive to Walmart, and we all know what a pain in the ass the Extreme Damage line has been to collect over the last couple years. This is a figure that I didn't think I was going to get my hands on because, time keeps passing. My Walmarts weren't stocking them because, same problem we ran into with Fallen Kingdom. They over-ordered on Wave 1. All my Walmarts are still clogged with tons of Raptors, Dimetrodons, and Solora, so I just didn't think they were going to get these in. Well, they did. A week or two ago, I found the Tiger the Atrociraptor, and I was hoping that these were going to finally start showing up in my area, and thankfully yesterday I found the Genyodectes, and they actually had a Coolmesaurus on the shelf, which means Wave 3 and Wave 2 are still shipping to Walmarts, I swear. But Walmart must have like a wheel somewhere. They just spin it to decide what random stores actually get stocks of these figures in. So yeah, if you couldn't tell, I'm really happy to add this new species to the collection. It's one of the very few Jurassic figures that actually has the species name on it. Joins the ranks of Rugops primus, Seats Megarurum, and what in the world is the other one I'm missing? Oh, Moros Intrepidus, and yes, T-Rex. Yes, that's the species name for that one also. So yeah, it's always cool when they put the species name on the box. It maybe it has to do something with copyright issues. I really don't know. But, if that's the case, come on, Mattel, have the balls to give us a Thanos. So let's just go over the package really quick before we crack this new species open. Comes in the Extreme Damage Dominion style packaging. You got the nice sunset background instead of the nighttime background that's being found on all the mainline Dominion figures. You got Rexy right here. Spinning around, you get a picture of how that Extreme Damage works. I don't like them putting renders on the box. It just reminds me of those stupid windowless packages that we're seeing on the Marvel Legend figures now. And down here are the other figures available in Wave 3, Tiger the Atrociraptor and the Pyroraptor. Pyroraptor is the only one I have not seen in stores yet, but I really don't care because I already got the one that came with Kayla. I am not going to pick up another one of that hideous looking beast. So enough about the packaging. Let's crack this figure open and take a closer look. And let's start with a nice 360-degree view of this very obscure theropod. I bet most of you have never heard of Genyodectes. I did in passing, but I had to do my research once I heard this figure was being announced. It is a type of Ceratosaur from the Lower Cretaceous of South America. Not much is known about this animal. It's just really known from a pair of chompers, but you can see Mattel gave it that classic looking Ceratosaur nasal crest. Yes, a little bit exaggerated, but at least, they kind of get it look like the type of animal it's related to. And I have to say, I really like the paint job on here. It's pretty simple. I like the really dark gray they use for the body. And the bright blue and bright red just adds a lot of nice contrast and colors to the overall look of the figure. As I say, the Dino Damage, the Extreme Damage figures have had really nice paint jobs. I guess it's with the extra budget that goes into them because they cost between 10 and 13 bucks now. Hooray for inflation. Yeah, they've been some among the best painted figures in the main line. And I've been a big critic of the main line for a while now. The paint quality has been dipping with every release, but once in a while Mattel does throw a surprise our way with this beautifully painted figure, and really like it. I'm always happy to add obscure species to the collection, and Mattel definitely takes some really creative artistic liberties with these figures. There's one art liberty that they keep taking with them recently that I am not liking, but we'll get into that very, very shortly. But yeah, all around, great figure. Happy to add it to my collection. Now for some quick measurements, this figure is 7.5 inches long from the tip of the tail to the tip of the snout, or just over 19 centimeters, about 3.25 inches high, or 8.25 centimeters. So the size estimates for Genyodectes is about 6.25 meters, or 20.5 feet long. So I'll put this figure somewhere in the 132 scale range. And now let's take a closer look at the finer details on Genyodectes. Like I said, I really, really like how this figure turned out. It's very well sculpted. Love the paint apps on it. Yeah, they're sparse, but it all comes together with that dark gray plastic and the bright blue and that bright red for the nasal crest on here. And you can see the nasal crest is quite exaggerated. That's the artistic liberties that Mattel takes with their figures sometimes. You know what? I don't mind it. Like I said, the only known portion of this species is just the chompers in the front right here. It resembles a Ceratosaurus, so it has a lot of Ceratosaur-like qualities on the figure. But yeah, really, really cool looking. You got some crest above the eyes. The eye is really small. It's painted yellow with a black pupil. Lots of nice fine scale detail all over the head. You can see the enamel fenestra clearly sculpted in. Now here's where I don't like the artistic liberties Mattel takes with some of their figures. This is a trend I've been seeing on some of their recent figures. Why the hell are the teeth going all the way past the maxilla? That's the last bone in the upper jaw where teeth are supposed to appear. Teeth do not grow on the jugal region of the skull. It just really annoys me, and it makes the figure just look really, really off my eyes. They just look goofy. It just looks like Beavis from Beavis and Butthead. But that being said, that's the only negative I have to say about this figure. The rest of it, I think, is very well done. You do have a little bit of a dewlap on the lower jaw. Lower jaw is cast in an off-white plastic. Teeth are painted a yellowish color inside the mouth. You can see the tongue and gums are painted nice pink coloration. Going down to the back of the neck, you can see a row of spikes that goes all the way down the back to the very tip of the tail. You do have rows of osteoderms along the body, which is another attribute of Ceratosaurus. Going down to the forearms, you can see it has 4 fingers, which is another thing that Ceratosaurus had. So whoever was designing this figure definitely had some knowledge about Ceratosaurus when they were designing it, so that's a pretty nice touch to see. You can see the slice marks for the extreme damage action that we'll get to shortly. You got that bright blue that stops just before the hip region. You just have a little bit more splash of it on the thigh, and I think this adds like a nice contrast. Just love this how the gray, blue, and red all comes together on this figure. Going down to the feet, you had a little bit oversized. Toe claws aren't painted in, but that's okay. Looks good in my eyes. And then going down to the tail, you get some nice fine scale details on all those osteoderms and spikes. That bridge of spikes ends just before you get to the tip of the tail. So yeah, all in all, really love how this figure turned out. You have some folds and wrinkles along the belly. Here's a view from the top. You can see all those rows of osteoderms. And before I forget, let's pop out the DNA code for those of you that want to scan this into the fax app. And then moving on with articulation. Articulation is pretty standard. The head can move up, it can look down that far, it can rotate side to side, actually can go 360 degrees. Mouth can close completely flush and open up pretty wide. Arms can move forwards and backwards. They're on a hinge, allows you to swing them out. For the hind legs, they move backwards and forwards. Very tight ratchet joint in there, similar to the Tiger Atrociraptor. And then going down to the tail, you get that useless rotation. For the love of God, Mattel, make that a hinge joint. And then to activate the extreme damage action, just push the little button on its back, and it'll activate the tumbler. And let's just get my light to shine on that so you can see it. And there we go. And that's how that action feature works. I do miss the old little trapdoor thing that they did with the older battle damage figures, but this one works just fine. Moving on with comparisons, first up here it is with the Hammond Collection, Ian Malcolm. And let's move on to some smaller figures. Here it is with the Extreme Damage Dimetrodon. And next up here is the Extreme Damage Kulmasaurus, which I said earlier, I did find both these on the shelves. That's really good. That Wave 2 is still shipping, even though Wave 3 is showing up on shelves. Because, like I said, these figures are just a pain in the butt to get lately. Anything past Wave 1 and this Battle Damage line has been an absolute pain in the ass for collectors for the last couple of years. So I'm really happy that these later waves are showing up on shelves. And next up here is Genyodectes relative Ceratosaurus. And this is the Hammond Collection version, which, the Ceratosaurus is basically just, a generic, T-Rex model with a Ceratosaurus head thrown on it. But it turned out to be one of the best figures in the Hammond Collection line so far. And next up here it is with the Sound Striker Iguanodon in all its cat puke color glory. And next up here it is with the Massive Action Impellosaurus. And lastly, the gold standard of all Mattel figures, the amazing looking Hammond Collection T-Rex. So final thoughts on Genyodectes. I really like this figure. It's a surprise hit for me. I'm glad I was able to track it down. Like I keep saying, these extreme damage figures are just an absolute pain in the ass to find. So happy to add it to my collection. Like I said, I keep saying like it said, God, please guys, don't do a drinking game. I know I repeat myself sometimes. The The biggest critique of this figure is just how far the teeth go back into the jaw. That's just not how an animal is supposed to look. It just makes the figure look goofy. But other than that, I think the figure is fantastic. It's beautifully sculpted. Love the paint apps, nice contrast in colors. All around, it's a great figure. And the best part is, even if you can't find this one, thankfully this species is seeing a re-release in a different color in Dino Trackers. Too bad they can't do that for the friggin' Gasosaurus. I know a million people are still looking for that figure, but it's nice that, you know, they're putting this obscure species into the main line, so it'll be a little bit easier for some people to get their hands on. Now this figure is showing up at Walmart. I just suggest that you keep hitting them. I'm betting around middle of October, end of October, before we start hitting the holiday shopping season. We're probably going to see more of these on shelves. I just have a feeling Walmart is just hoarding toys for the holiday shopping season, and I just think these are going to absolutely flood the shelves once the holiday shopping season comes around. So that will do it for the review. Like I said in the Ian Malcolm review, I got absolutely murdered by pre-orders this week with a lot of Jurassic World stuff shipping. So I should have a bunch of reviews coming up in the next week or so. And, I got that PNSO Dino coming in. That's a really anticipated figure. So I'm going to be on the lookout for all that stuff. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.